this is a question. This is an important paradigm in New Relic. Bless you. We are going to always expose the areas where we think you should look in your code. So you noticed in transaction traces, they're actually compressed by default. Lots of the segments that are fast are just rolled up. Same thing here, all the framework code is just rolled up. We have it, we saved it, it's there, you can show the framework code, but it's honestly just realize you might know what you wrote this in. And these are the parts for your actual unified logging documents controller. And on the right, for this error, this is one instance. These are the attributes. So this could contain this URI here. This could contain custom attributes too. So, I don't know. Well, a really common one is user ID or customer ID. I would say for BIM, it's multi-tenant, right? You have different customers have different levels of importance. And maybe you even want to set up an alert policy for a single one of your tenants specifically. It's a very important customer or something like that. Or they've been complaining a lot. This is how you do it. You could add custom attributes to the code. Custom attributes would show up here. They would show up in insights. They'll let you cohort and facet the errors by the tenant. There. So drilling into errors, we went through that. The last piece is database queries. So we're showing you the breakdown of external transactions, letting you drill down into the correlating services. Database transactions are database calls are tracked from the originating transaction, and we actually should track all the raw database calls out of the box, give you detailed metrics from how long different inserts, updates are taking. Bless you. Overall database response time, and this is different than what you might see from a database tool. If you're familiar with a database tool that profiles the actual SQL database, what's one? Vivid Cortex is one we use heavily internally at New Relic. It profiles like Cassandra, MySQL, NoSQL databases. Stodgy Enterprise one is something like Confio Ignite, which profiles MySQL databases. And that one's doing querying this process table and giving you a dump of all the stored procedures and how long they're taking, how much resource they're taking in the database server. This is actually from the perspective of the app. So when my app invokes a database query, I think this is actually our learning UI in this example. So JDBC condition alert select, on average, is taking 120 milliseconds. So it's different inside of your app. What's the predominant database technology you guys use? Mongo? The database implementation is slightly different for different languages, but generally you get the same metrics. And then this is cool. So this correlates back to the actual call transaction. So for the different actions here, we've got a correlation back to which actions call Redis exists, or Postgres folder finder, etc. And then below that, these are our slow queries. So this ties to transaction traces. If there's a super long-running transaction, and to your point, Simon, about not seeing these sometimes, I think maybe if it's not traced, you're not going to see these. So we need to turn the Apdex or something like that. There actually are configuration values for a lot of this stuff. Yeah, they're in the config.
No, if you don't see it, trace.
Yeah.
So does it mean that you need to configure it in your agent?
You can configure different thresholds for different stuff. You can configure turn on or off, or in some agents you can tune in the actual agent config whether or not we flex slow query traces based on the Apdex threshold or based on its own static threshold in some cases. So you can say anything over X 100 milliseconds, I want to get a slow query trace for it. Generally don't advise you to mess around with this unless you're having like an edge case where you're completely missing something, because you can cause like a high overhead. Generally they don't just start dropping data if that happens.
Does this do like stuff like DynamoDB as well?
We should trace pretty much any standard database library. It's from the library, so it doesn't matter what database you call necessarily. And we do instrumental stamps on once. So.
It's not doing it for .NET.
Which one?
It's not doing Dynamo queries for .NET.
In your, we might have it in that engine.
Okay.
That is brand new. That's a feature request though. No, seriously. They'll build it. I mean, I'm sure that's not an uncommon use case. If that is probably not answering. That's the core agent, right, Steven?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So depending on the database driver we trace, we also get the actual raw query, and then table hints are an explain plan. MySQL, I think you're more likely to see this. Let's rest. Let's look for this. Yeah. We also show you this inside of transaction traces. So if the database is culprit in a slow transaction, it's pretty fast in this guy, but we can actually do this. We'll actually show you all the database queries to trace. So I'm saying like we roll up all the fast stuff here, expand this out. We actually got all the Redis statements here. And then the drill down from this trace will actually have the queries too. And if you want to just look at the queries, there's a separate tab where we roll up again. This is a paradigm neural, we roll up all the fast stuff. So I think my lab example is going to get one a lot of that when we get to the end of this thing. We'll see. Okay. So I showed you drill down, how to use database tab, what's collected there. The external services we covered earlier. Pinning charts. So this is where I was talking about beginning Insights has the ability to be a universal dashboard. We have all of these different metric charts, and any of them, if you look in UI, you hover over any chart, you can actually pin it into Insights. So if I hover on this chart, I can add that to an Insights dashboard. I want to look at the throughput chart. It's got the same action on it. Pretty much any piece of data in here that's live. I hope not, because that's what the lab is. Do you guys see it?
Which option?
Pin the chart, pin the Insights. If you just hover over any chart, you should have add to Insights. Found it? Yeah. Okay, okay. There used to be an old part of New Relic that is no longer existed. We nuked it off the face of the earth, called custom dashboards. We replaced it with Insights. So anytime you pin a dashboard, it goes into its own Insights dashboard. You can either add to a dashboard from the UI here, or you can create your own new dashboard. So what we're going to do is, our new lab where everybody makes their own dashboard. You can go into one of the services you were looking at and make sure that you make the dashboard with the name APM Training and put your name on it. Otherwise, I'll let you create the same dashboards with the same names. It'll be unique. And I would use a DM app as mine, but TLV account's fair game too. And I'll go along with you. So the idea is to create a dashboard that has, four different metrics on it. They could be anything you want. It could be a specific transaction. You could pull database queries. You want overall database response time. Whatever data you think might be interesting to put like in a screen next to your desk or something. Maybe your team is working on optimizing the transactions in a given database query. Training. That's my dashboard title. And you can actually go into it if you want. My metrics are going to be the overview chart. It's called the hero chart or 3D chart. Also do Apdex, throughput. I think error rate is fairly important. And whoever has the coolest dashboard, you get a prize. So accessing dashboards, right? I just pop in insights. Pop down into all dashboards here. We have quite a few, so you can always sort them by edited. So here's mine. Ta-da! So this gives you capability to sort of create whatever custom view you want. Say I want to have the hero chart for response time, and then throughput pairs and Apdex here. Below it, trick it out. You can make it whatever sort of like symbol you want. I don't know. Will do. And then it also gives you the ability to scale in and out time windows. So it'll pin the chart at the default range, whatever you're looking at inside the UI, so you can scale it back and forth. That'll scale all the charts with it. And then you can also say, use Markdown to actually create dashboard nodes. So these are widgets that could actually include things like GIFs or images, whatever you want. So let's go.
Nuova
Lisa. Lisa.
vedete? No, senta, nuova.
I'll show you also the coolest dashboard that I found someone custom making. Just from a competitive note, I mean, the Shanghai team, I don't know if you guys know Plane. You guys work interoperably with any of those folks? Not really.
Just started.
Okay, cool. So Leon, are you here? Cool. You're the DevOps guy for Shanghai, right? Yeah. So have you seen this dashboard? No. Okay. There's mine. It's just some pin charts. Nothing crazy. I made a markdown widget. If it looks to be wrong, it's not crazy. But here's the coolest dashboard I've seen so far.
Actually, the creator is here.
Oh, dude.
Hello.
Hi. Tony, nice to meet you.
Me too.
You're just gonna wait till I popped it open. Do you want to explain this? Can I explain it?
Okay. Auto chart is generated by the custom date, and actually we report some key metrics from the New Relic API. This is the record custom events. And we update the data with some duration, and we can generate the chart based on the calculation of duration. You can check here. We have to add query condition and the duration less than 1 hour, and we call the result at the start job. All the charts should based on the duration calculation.
Yeah, so you guys have a command processor service that handles all file uploads for, I don't know,
For the upload flow.
for the upload workflow for, is it for all of M360? Or no? Just for part of it? All of it? Okay. So the command processor is using custom events. So we have insights events that we'll go into this when we do the insights training, but you can send a arbitrary event using the API to New Relic, and theirs has different attributes in the conf proxy table. So select the star from the steps. I'm going to kill that. Thanks. I believe that. I believe that. Cool. Thank you. So, you have the nice. So there's some details about their account type. You can send like an actual Apdex, the type of file that was uploaded, duration that it was in the upload progress, things like that. So what this does is it lets them track a dashboard of how many uploads have been processed, how many are failing, how many have what status are in, the different file types. So these are recent failures in Revit, PDF, drawing files. Yeah, Relic can click record custom.
Quick question. So I've noticed that with Insight, you can pull data out of AWS.
Well, I mean, what are you referring to?
So for example, if I wanted to be able to do the number of instances started for a specific service over a time period and relate that to the cost of the service.
We have a better way of doing that than this.
Okay.
That's more in infrastructure stuff. We'll get to that. We're gonna get to that. But for dashboards, this is probably the coolest one we've done so far. So nice work, Johnny. We can totally do that service correlation. Let me get through this first, and we'll get to that next. So dashboards, we made some dashboards, nice. We're also able to track the deployment. So have you guys seen the deployment marker? Sounds like, yes. They're good. So what, you guys use automation tools, right? You push new services using Jenkins? Or Chef does the actual build and deploy. You saw Jenkins, right? So the last step when you deploy a new service for every application that has New Relic on it should be hitting our deployments API and curling that endpoint. It's just a REST endpoint. You might need to do the two-step process where you query the REST API and get the application ID. It's our own internal ID, which you need to call the deployments API. It's also in the UI, it doesn't change. So once your app is registered, This is the app ID and URL. It's arbitrary string numbers here. And then API Explorer is here, and this has all the REST APIs. So if they wanted to record a train, actually should not. Just leave that again. I'm gonna do it against the dev instance. So you can delete your bundle markers, but it does not cause any problems. So the use case is I'm deploying a new version of the service, and I want to tell every single person who looks at New Relic data that there's a new version that just went out. You set a deployment marker for it. So go into the APIs. List all the deployments done, create a deployment, and then you can delete deployments too. So let's grab this app ID. Ship that request off. So 201 created, and it's going to set a marker in UI. So let's go look at current time. Might take a couple seconds there. Here's the hack. And if you have your automation tool do this for you. Let's see. There's our deployment marker. The data hasn't probably yet, but essentially, this will actually set a vertical line in UI. That's going to go, it's going to say who the deployer was, what their change revision was. You can actually set any other text you want. Change log, maybe like a quick change log in there. We change these features. Things you probably already have here in Jenkins. I just want to blank as an example. And then it's also going to do change reporting. So over the next 30 minutes, it's going to baseline the performance before we did that deployment marker to the previous 24 hours. Sorry, previous 24 hours to the after the active deployment. These are very close because we just set it. Yeah, here's our deployment marker. They show up everywhere. The app ID is for applications that are linked should be the same. That's why when you deploy browser with copy paste, and there's a drop down menu that says link this to an application. You should be able to set it to link to applications.
I love to see when the server is
Right. The difference is, so this is the linking I'm going to talk about. So this is automatically instrumented or copy paste. And if we look up an app here and link it, I think we did, right? So that app ID, this preserved the app ID, and that's your app ID, and the deployment marker will show up. You can set it against the app ID and say new UI set, and it's useful to you in your browser data and the backend team. They want to know when you set new UI as well, right? like, oh, he's starting to use this new API, and we see the response time of that going on.
Okay. So it sends some Redis API every time we have or like notify.
There it is. Cool. So there's our deploy marker. Oh, I left everything blank, but it should say my name and what I did, and yeah, what the revision was when I put down. And that marker you can drill in on. Performance under metrics. Yeah, it's all automatic. Something you should be using and taking advantage of. You guys see any challenges in adopting this? Like does someone else like old Jenkins?
So we already have tested
You have tested, implement deployment markers? Okay, cool.
The problem for us is staging in production on manual deployments today, so
Prod,
to do that.
and prod is manual.
yeah, most of the Autodesk. Not
So
manual that we need to trigger it ourselves, it's not orchestrated by Jenkins. So
Sure, but so as the last step in the deployment should be, even if manually triggered, should be like set your own
Yeah.
deployment marker.
Should be, yeah.
Can you open the change reporting?
Yeah, so this is the, remember our transaction?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's for every transaction?
It should be for top 10, so the slowest ones, basically. So are we improving the performance of these slow transactions over time, or are they staying the same? And you can plot the different response time throughput metrics. For all that data. Alright. Cool.
I have a question about something you talked before.
Sure.
When you show the key transactions, you could modify the app index, per transaction. When they do that, does that transaction being taken out from the total app index calculations?
Yeah.
So you show that we have the average one for the entire application. So when I set it to a specific one, it doesn't influence anymore the general one.
It influences based on its own Apdex score.
For itself, yeah, for in the main overview page when I see the average one for the entire service.
And it rolls up into the entire service.
In that.
Yeah. So for transaction users that have a key transaction Apdex score set, that transaction, it's the get home, is scored against its own key transaction Apdex score, and the rest of the transactions are scored against the overall application's Apdex score. So it helps you fine tune. So where we have the service that we were showing earlier that has a bunch of peaks and valleys, right? Where one of the APIs is 6 seconds response time, and the next one's 150 milliseconds. That'll help your Apdex stay more consistent.
But it's still included in the overall Apdex score. The key transaction,
Yeah.
well, it's its own, it's brought together, yes? If you have a score of 0.99 and the key transaction is 0.90 and the other one is 1, according to the number of total requests this key transaction will be there, calculated.
Yeah, it rolls up into the overall Apdex score.
Yeah.
With its own score mechanism. So its threshold is different, and it's just treated with that threshold.
The deployment information is also available in the insights and also query for it.
Not today.
Not today.
The deployment markers, I think, show up in.
It's comparing it to the last 24 hours. A lot of times is not really what you want to do, because for a lot of services you refresh, you flush them. So, but before you deploy, they're actually at their peak performance, and after you deploy, they're in their lowest. So.
Oh, because you recycle?
Yeah, you recycle, you do like a lot of deployments for several services that are related to one another, so all of their cache is being emptied and stuff like that. So.
Got it. Also mess with that. Yeah, I mean, it should keep the average running for the next day or so. So the caching is what, like an hour window where you recycle?
It would have been nice, for example, to have a dashboard to see the performance in the day of the deployment and compare it to the previous deployment and stuff like that. and not just like the average of the application for the previous day.
Got it. So
Can we do this manually?
maybe we don't do that in deployments directly, but you can do day over day for looking there something in here. It's comparison analysis thing. And you can do this in insights too. So you want to look at average duration. Time series, fail rate. You get the trends, average current or so not exactly what you asked for, but you would want like compare with previous deploy.
Yeah, you can do it manually.
Yeah.
And just
So the change reports, so how long does it show after deployment?
I
30
think
minutes
it's
or so?
I think it's 24 hours.
24 hours.
So there's the heads up view, which is 30 minutes before and after. So if you go on a deploy marker from like 10 minutes ago. So this is a current. So if you want to like do the deploy and watch these key metrics, throughput and response time there. And then change report is 24 hours before and after. I think the change report and this stuff is like nice to have. But I would say the strongest part of this is having a vertical marker that says everybody. We did a deploy here, there's no more confusion about when there was a deploy, if it's affecting performance or not. It's just very obvious. Some of our like more advanced customers, and you guys are a bit of a different industry, but like Airbnb, for example, they have hundreds of these in their main rail lab per day. And they're doing like, they're cranking out 40,000 fills a year or something crazy like that. But this is how they do it. They manage the performance of the app. If you do a deploy, for example, culturally there, you own the deploy. If it's going poorly, you watch the deploy metrics on New Relic, and you roll it back using the deploy board. Oh, okay. Cool. We got like 20, 30 minutes. There's another lab I want to have you guys do at the end here. And then we're going to break for lunch. We'll get some shawarma or something. I haven't had any falafel yet. I had shawarma the first night I got here.
We will take care of it.
Cool. So, so threat profiler, have any of you touched the threat profiler ever? Cool. So threat profiler exists in all the agents.
it doesn't work on that call.
It doesn't work on. It does not work on .NET Core now. Yeah, you guys are using like it's bleeding edge. We're gonna add features to it as it evolves. Sorry, Steve. So threat profiler can be useful in tracking down areas where maybe you have like an intense pool of threads that are CPU intensive, things that can't be solved by tracking response time, right? Contention, blocking, things like that. Threat pool bashing. Those are more Java oriented. So these are threat profiles that you can do on the fly. You can do them for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And then what the agent actually does is, it's on a polling cycle. The agent actually beams down, beams down a command to the agent, and it says, agent, start your threat profile. The agent will actually start dumping all the threads, in the case of Java, for example, every so many milliseconds, up to the time period you select. So once that's done, it's a big list of JSON, and it's going to take all the different process methods, line numbers, different thread dumps to cure on. Let's see if you got one here.
You don't have one for Node.js.
No.
Only Python.
But we have Java, Python,
Python, Java.
Yeah. are you mentioning this with building these days, or you just left out? Sorry.
And the stuff that is not known is being constructed, so.
So that's more about like the event loop and fix and things like that, I think. So we do have those metrics. Yeah, there's no native metrics in the latest version of the agent. It requires an extra module, but it's a dependency to the agent, so we'll automatically try and pull it down. Yeah. Previous versions of Node before Node 8 didn't have that module, didn't have any APIs for us to grab it from, so you had to recompile in order to get them, which was pretty good, bad, and painful. Just stay away from it. Yeah, sure. I'm just gonna find the example of the virtual voucher. Well, that's a go app. Go this now. I think it's more relevant to Java. It's probably not super relevant to you guys, but. So after we dump all the threads, aggregate them together, this is what you get. So this is a tree of. This is not. It's not necessarily resources allocated. Again, it's from a thread dump. So it could sort of align to like how much resources is being spent on each method, and this is actually showing you the percentage of the thread dumps that had this line number at this point in the tree. So, async thread pool run, 7% of them. So this does expand out and stuff like that. So you can like watch the whole stack. You notice here also, this is Java specifically, but we have little like instrumentation points here. So in Java Agent, you can actually dynamically load instrumentation, and you can create custom instrumentation for parts of an app that are not necessarily managed by out of the box. Framing level instrumentation. But cool, yeah, you can go like through your Docker files, check them out. The last part of today, or this first half of today, is lab where we actually look at, I hope this works. This, well no, this isn't going to work very well. So if you have access to the BIM 360 account, this link goes to the BIM DM app from a couple days ago. Yeah. So I guess some of you guys are probably going to go off into the Tel Aviv account. That's my mistake, sorry guys.
There's no problem, no traffic.
Sorry? We don't have traffic.
There's no problems and no traffic.
Yeah. Alright, let's do this. Let's do it from my screen. Let's do it together. So this is where the link goes. You notice when I go into the chart link, it actually sets the time window. So I don't know if you guys have ever used this, but in the bottom right corner of your Relic, if you're looking at any page in the UI, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't see that. There should be a permalink. Okay. Let's see. Permalink is actually focused to the time window you're looking at, the exact page you're looking at in the UI. So I can actually go to any page in the UI, grab the permalink, and this is the same. It's going to be, but this sets the time window to the same time window I was looking at, takes me to the same exact page in the cockpit, streaming back to us. So if you're troubleshooting something, you want to hand off troubleshooting or show someone else what you're looking at. A lot of times people get the claw hand out and, what is it, Command, Shift, Option, F, function, grab a screenshot to your clipboard and then paste it into Slack, send it to someone. I think there's two different workflows you can use. A, send them the permalink and they can go look at the data also. Or B, use insights and create a retro dashboard. And be like, okay, here's what I was looking at. Let me pin this into an insights dashboard. And then you can send them all the metrics you were looking at in your investigation. So as you're investigating, create a dashboard. Okay, so I picked this time window because it looks like there might be an issue in response time. But I want to look through the metrics with you guys and use what we learned in the first half of the class to troubleshoot. So there's a few questions that we're trying to answer. And it's up to interpretation. There's no necessarily totally right answer here. So first is, where is the app spending most of its time? I guess you could actually sum up all the metrics and add them together, but usually I would say the other chart should show you where you should be looking. So where is the app spending most of its time?
Standard browser.
It starts more or less equal to the web, but then
Yeah, that's
It's even nice in the works.
So we can hover and check too. So in this time slice, the 5-minute aggregate period, 100 milliseconds in external.
Yeah.
That. And then this same peak, 140. So this roughly even. So yes, then it goes all out of whack, right? All right. That's the first one. A plus. Then the next is like, which are the slowest transactions, which should be super easy to answer. It's always the same ones, right? So project documents controller. And then this is the fun one. So you guys lead me. There's a spike in the error rate here.
I can zoom in.
Yeah, what?
Zoom in.
Let's cause, let's try and figure out what the actual cause of this spike in error rate is. So someone said zoom in. Michelle, they say zoom in?
Oh, there are errors dashboard. Error analytics.
At January 14th at 6 p.m. Which is 3 a.m. I look So this date drops us into error analytics. Where do we go from here?
narrow down the time.
You want me to zoom in? Okay. So if, I don't know if I reviewed this earlier, but you can click and drag any chart in the UI, release, and it will zoom in. Alright. There's a little bit of a decomposed view of our errors.
Scroll down to the error traces.
Look at error traces. You want to facet or filter anything? Okay. So here's all the errors. 130, home, controller, index, action view, missing templates. And then parse error. Invalid authenticity token. Is that caused by, or is that simply like? I didn't develop this actually. Rack middleware, method error, EM error, service error.
This is only one count.
What do you guys think this is?
First one?
The first thing? You got 130 errors and the other one's...
Yeah, the first two. Can click on it, see the transactions.
Oh, sorry. You want to see the transaction grouping for the first class?
You can, no. You can do both.
I would do this. I would filter and then facet by transaction. So it's on home controllers. So someone forgot to put a template for the home page in your deploy. I think that's the approximate cause. And then they rolled it back maybe? Yeah, deployment markers would have done.
I think that if you will do a day-to-day, you will see that it's a pattern.
Is it? How should we do that? Should we do it here? Community insights.
Errors. That's great.
So we got the view and insights button, just runs some query for you. There's an integrated page. Compare at the same time 1 day ago. Oh, it's faceted, sorry. It is a pattern. Voila!
Wow.
Just slightly offset. So it's like just a session timeout then? Somebody's just dumping all their sessions out? And it's causing an error because they're calling in valid template or something? Alright, well, I expected when I set this up that you guys have more familiarity with the service. We can try one of the other ones that doesn't really have traffic.
Try the workflows.
Workflows, is that probably the most active?
Sadly.
One request per.
So I noticed my time picker set to the same that I was looking at. So they're Apdex settings.
Yeah.
No errors in this guy. It looks healthy. I don't know. There's nothing to troubleshoot here.
That is too high.
Well, yeah. Well, but if it doesn't have the load, it's hard to say. You know what I'm saying? All right. Well, so the next part of this is leveraging all the data and information we talked about to actually set up some alert policies. And we'll break for lunch a little early.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, everyone.